This is one of those rare weeks where neither Liam nor I did a race on the weekend.
Oh no.
There's a very specific reason why Liam didn't. I worked on Sunday because there's a holiday coming up, and we did an extra work day so that we have an extra day for the holiday. That's my excuse. What's yours?
I'm still recovering from last week. I'm mostly recovered. I can walk fine now. But I'm still a little cautious. I don't want to risk it because this Sunday I have the BMO Vancouver Marathon.
This
So I want
Sunday?
to, yes, this Sunday. So I will arrive on Saturday to Vancouver from Korea. Friday I get to Calgary, stay a night in the airport. Sunday I go to Vancouver, go straight to bib pickup, then my house. Then the next day I go to run the marathon.
Sounds like you got it all planned out,
Yeah, but there's
except for the running
one
part.
mistake. Like, except for the running part, there's one other critical error I have made. By the time this is edited and online, it will be revealed. I haven't told anyone in Canada I'm going there, so all of my running crew friends I'm going to surprise as I run, and I pass them as a dinosaur playing the flute is the plan. But 2 days ago, someone posted in the old group chat, "Who's running BMO this weekend?" Only one person out of the whole running group. Everyone's busy or it just didn't work. So all the people I was planning on surprising for the past 5 months are not running the race. So that's
Surprise!
unfortunate. Nice. I got surprised. Maybe they'll be waiting for me and they're tricking me. But yes,
Yeah, or maybe not.
maybe not. But anyways, that's my update for running.
Mm. So are you gonna do it in a wheelchair?
I didn't think of a wheelchair. They have a separate race for that. You have to register early. I thought maybe
Mm.
crutches.
Mm.
I thought it would be I could try it because I did two sticks last time, but my leg is recovered enough. I can definitely finish. I'll probably regret it a bit near the end, but at that point I can walk to the end. But now I can do a 20-minute shuffle to the street light. If you're gonna miss the light, I can do that with no pain. So I think by Sunday I'll be able to slowly make my way there.
Are you allowed to bring trekking poles with you for marathons?
I don't know if BMO in Vancouver has any rules about that. Good
You
question.
could just use those as like a double cane.
That's true. It's yeah. I'll have to look into that.
Okay, getting to our topic for this week, we are talking about books. The one I'm reviewing is called Daniel's Running Formula by Jack Daniels. And first of all, kudos to the author for not only having a PhD, which I totally didn't know about, but writing a very successful book about running all on the side while being a distiller of fine spirits.
I was going to ask, is that the same? Is that actually the same Jack Daniels?
No,
Or did I just got tricked? Oh,
nailed it.
you know.
Yeah. So he's a running coach who was really active in the 70s, and he developed this system for tracking and planning running and had a lot of success and trained a lot of Olympic athletes and world champions and also high school kids. Like he developed programs for high schools and all kinds of stuff. And this book was first published in 1998. This is the fourth edition that I listened to, and I'll start with that. Do not listen to this as an audiobook because it's a manual for running, right? So the first couple chapters are actually pretty good. There's not a lot of reference to the PFD that comes with it. That's a personal flotation device. PDF. Yeah, the book does
Yes,
not come with a personal flotation device.
the personal dotation for dice.
Yes, deflotation photos. And you get like a password with it. You can find it online. And a lot of audiobooks nowadays do that. Like they'll give you PDF that you can reference. But this one does it a lot because it's kind of meant to be looking at it with all the charts and stuff. Whereas saying like, oh, look at this chart on this page. So I have to imagine all these charts. And there are even somewhere they're meant for you to draw a line. Like you take your 5K time, 10K time, half marathon, and full marathon, and then draw a line between them, your best times. And then if it's flat, then you're pretty well rounded for all the distances. And if it goes up, you're better at longer distances. If it goes down, then you're better at shorter distances, and so on. I just imagined all that. I didn't actually see it. So my first recommendation for this would be to get a paper copy of it. Don't bother with the ebook or the audiobook. Unless you just want to check it out, then be my guest. Okay, so let's go into what it actually talks about. It's very systematic, and actually it's quite famous for being like the authoritative book on putting the science in running. So if you're looking to put more science in your running, check out Daniel's running formula. And first it talks about like why you train, like what the point of it is. And he has this thing that comes up a lot where every time you do a workout, you should always ask yourself, what's the purpose of this workout? And if you can't answer the question, go home. And he also talks about like intervals and VO2 max, all the stuff that people talk about but don't really necessarily understand. He actually goes into depth about it and probably helped develop a lot of the concepts. And the latter half of the book, which honestly I didn't finish because it's so repetitive, and a lot of it's all just plans, right? So he'll do plans for, and a lot of it isn't even about marathon running or even long distance running. It's like you're going to do the 800 meters, 1600 meters, and so on and so on. So it's a running plan, detailed running plans for different levels, like first phase, second phase, third phase, and then each block of 6 weeks in each phase for each plan. Yeah, so a lot of the parts you can kind of just skim through until you find the one that you're looking for. But it's very detailed, and if it's in its 4th edition, then it's been quite popular and improved a lot. So who I would recommend it for is anyone who is getting serious about their running and they want to start getting faster. They've gone past the phase, I guess kind of where I'm at now, where you kind of just run for fun, and then I'm not really maxed out, but I feel like I can run faster and I want to know how I can do that. So I need to get on training plans like this. And yeah, so that's who I'd recommend this book for. That's Daniel's running formula.
Great. And do you have a personal favorite chart from all the PDFs you scoured?
My favorite chart is where he converts all the miles to kilometers.
Oh, that's good, I think.
Apparently his PhD isn't in math. Everything is
Yeah.
in like miles and then kilometers in parentheses, apparently, or sometimes just miles. I'm like, okay, thanks. That really doesn't help. I have to, yeah. Eventually, I just gave up on trying to convert the ones that he didn't convert. But I really wish it would just be like a non-US version where everything's metric rather than having everything in both or just miles. Yeah. So that's my one gripe about it. If you do read or listen to it, and miles aren't your thing, then get a different version where everything's all converted.
Makes sense. I haven't read it, but I agree with that.
Are you going to read it?
Yeah. Maybe one day. Someone actually, a friend of mine here has mentioned it, and they said they haven't started running yet. I guess they are
Okay.
not in the group of people you would recommend it to, but they said, "Oh, have you heard of this?"
Yeah, that's one comment that I was going to make too. Thanks for reminding me. Is that I wouldn't recommend this for people who are brand new to running because it's so complicated. Like it makes running so convoluted. And I've been running for a few years now, and I can not keep up with a lot of things he's saying sometimes because it just goes into so much detail, and it's not really necessary. Like at first, when you're running, you just want to get in a few runs a week, a few kilometers, and then gradually build up your volume. And then once your cardiorespiratory system gets used to a bit of volume, then you can start, adding a speed run and a long run, and then increasing your volume more, and then getting into like tapering and all that. You don't need that's information overload at the beginning. Maybe some people are into that, like from the very beginning, they're like, I'm going to run a 3.5 hour marathon, and I haven't even taken my first step yet. If that's your thing and you want to get there fast, then sure, go for it. But I think the vast majority of people aren't like that, and they'll just end up getting overwhelmed.
Yeah, makes sense. I agree with that. Have fun, don't get hurt, and then later on you can get better.
In that order.
In that order, yes.
All right, what's your book?
Great. So for me, I have a book here, Harry Potter and the Death. No, wait, that's the wrong one.
There's running in that.
No, I guess so. No, it's this is a book. I thought of doing a more famous one, but I found a kind of a local book that I got here in Korea. It's
Mm.
called "You're Still Running," or in Korean, "No, 아직도 뛰냐?" And basically, it's a collection of, they call themselves the super seniors. I've mentioned some of them before, 70
Mm.
plus years old, and they run marathons. So it's kind of like a collection of essays and short stories about their marathon lives. And it's been very fun to read. I don't think there's an audiobook. I don't know if it's translated into English, but it's enjoyable. And I think this kind of theme of just for beginner runners, people who are just looking to have fun with it and just starting out, books like this, I think can be enjoyable. Like not they're not world record holders. Many of them are very, very slow. They talk about how they failed sometimes, didn't even finish the race, but it's just something you can relate to. And I know there's many books like that people write on their blogs or anywhere. So I enjoy that. In particular, there's, I guess I wrote down a list of some stories, I guess four quick things I'll mention that I particularly enjoyed. Um, just one of them is a common goal in this club, and for some people in Korea, is to run 1,000 marathons. I guess there's some people who say 100, but now the next one up is 1,000. And in this club, four people have done it. And they say, I don't know if the numbers are exact, but they say 1,000 full marathons is basically the equator of the whole world. So
Mm.
that's a
Okay.
big distance. So they say, yeah, run around the world is, hey, just like what we're talking about here.
Mm.
Not sponsored, copyright, I don't know. But yes, that is their goal, to try and in official full marathon races cover the length of the whole world. Some people have talked about going to the moon, but I think that's a bit too far. But
You
yes,
got to draw the line somewhere.
exactly. Got to draw it with your running shoes. Yeah, that's a goal of many people here. And one of the runners talked about, he, I guess, got so into running marathons that he decided he was going to go run the first marathon. I guess they host one in Greece, back
Mm.
on the where the original marathon was, the first marathon with the city marathon way back in the day. So it talks a bit about the history of marathon. There's some interesting things I didn't know about history, and I won't get too much into that now because I can't remember all of it. But yeah, it's really cool to learn a bit about the history of it and see someone like just a normal person go run a special marathon. Someone who I can keep up with, not always a professional who, okay, they won first place again. Okay, they did a full marathon in 2 hours and 4 minutes. Okay, again, and something I'll never do. But oh, I can really relate to this. Maybe one day I could do that trip too, and it makes me want to do that. So that's kind of fun. Another person talked about, he went to run a half marathon in Mongolia, and he's also
Mm.
not competitive. He's always back of the pack, and it was like a big festival. He didn't really know what was going on that day. It wasn't just the race. There was a huge festival in that city.
You have to
And after
wrestle
coming
while you're
back,
running.
well, yeah, maybe this, or you have to run with a falcon. Um, and falcon
All
or
at the same
hawk? I'm
time.
sorry, I can't remember. Yes, all at the same time. But yeah, they're coming back to the festival, maybe 4 or 5K left, and they see, oh, that mountain over there looks so beautiful. We're only in Mongolia for 2 days. They're like, do you want to go? And this was a really laid back race. So they just left. Like it wasn't really blocked off a lot, but they were already like probably more than 2.5, between 2.5 and 3 hours for their half marathon pace. And so they're already near the back, but they decided to go visit this mountain. And on their way down, I guess there was no time limit or very, very loose time limit. So they go to the mountain, explore, go hiking, find like a spring, swim for a little bit and come back. And then they got back like 4 hours after leaving. And most, like all the runners were done basically, but they still got welcomed because the festival was all day and they just had a good time. And yeah, stories like that are really fun and feels like something you'd see in a movie. But yeah, one of the joys of running in different places. That's another one I really enjoyed. And there's one last part I thought was very memorable. And one of the runners, he talked about his 50th full marathon. So he told all his friends, today I'm running my 50th marathon. They're waiting for him with huge signs saying, oh, 50th marathon, yeah, and a big dinner and a party. So after the marathon, they were going to have like great barbecue and so much food and awards and just so congratulate him. But in the middle, he got hurt or just couldn't keep going. But he's like, oh no, all these people are waiting for me. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And he took a, the bus out of the way and didn't and then crossed the finish line. He didn't actually count it in his 50s, but he didn't tell his friends that he didn't actually finish. So just for his friends to take pictures because they were all waiting for him, he came back to the finish line and finished. And then later on, he didn't want to interrupt their party because they were all there to drink soju and have some barbecue. So later on, he said, okay, actually, the next time I ran my 50th marathon. And in the end, he was honest, but he had to lie to his friends for a day or a couple of weeks. So that was another interesting story. So yeah, things like that can happen to
Hmm.
average people who run marathons. So that's why I really enjoyed this book. You're still running?
Okay. Yeah, about the title, when I first heard it, I thought it meant like during a race. Like you've been running for
Ah,
a very long time. What? You're still running? Not as in like your life.
right.
I thought I
Yeah,
was
I
thinking in
guess.
micro terms, not in macro terms.
Yeah, I guess here both apply, but many of them actually started running after retiring. So some of them
Right.
also mentioned it's like their third life. They had their childhood, their teenage years, then they became an adult and worked, then they retired and started running marathons. So they say it's like three distinct lives. Last one capped off with marathons.
Do the people that contribute to the stories, how many stories are there in the book?
About 40 or 50, about that much.
Okay. Do they all know each other or who compiled these?
Right. So they're a running group, and they all have matching T-shirts and backpacks, and
Oh,
they many of them live in Seoul, but some of them live in other places. So at least once a year they have like a big meeting, but quite often they run like every weekend when I would go to small races, I'd see many of them, and so they know each other quite well. They're a running group called their English name is Super Seniors.
and they just decided to put their brains together and write this book.
Yeah, I guess this was for the 15th anniversary of
Oh, okay.
the club. So yes, it's I guess it was part of a but they had an event to not really to promote it to sell it, but promote it just to congratulate each other for running and staying healthy.
That's kind of cool. How would you summarize it? Is basically like a collection of interesting or inspiring or weird stories? Like, is there any theme or is it just like their best stories?
They do kind of group it by theme. So overall, it's just kind of all over the place. But they say, oh, these are kind of about how I got into running. These are some interesting running stories, future goals, or motivation, things like that. And yeah, that's overall just whatever you want to write about. You have a few pages, go. It's kind of the
Hmm.
process I think they used.
All right, that is our very first book review. We did two very different books today. And our sponsors for this episode were Jack Daniels, distiller of fine spirits and writer of detailed running manuals.
Yes, and for a complete list of our sponsors, you can open the PDF up to page 734 and check out the extensive list, which
Right.
includes small mountain springs in Mongolia.